Hi everyone, Brandon from the bench with another install, this one with our friends at Shepherd Tactical Supply. They were kind enough to send over some stuff for us to do a video for them on their short stroke trigger for the P238 238 series pistols. Alright, now you know me, I try to keep the videos flowing and as short as possible, but we're going to go over some things. So I'm using their toolkit, their 332nd 1/16 punch. I'm using their VC3 out of their toolkit. All of this you can find on their website. For the sake of brevity, I've gone ahead and pulled my screw out ahead of time and pre-treated it with the VC3. If you're following the video and you're going to be using VC3, pull the set screw out, apply your VC3, pause the video for 15-20 minutes and come on back. Alright, like I said, I've already pulled the screw out, pre-treated it. So let's go ahead and go over tools that we're going to need. As I said, we're using the 050 Allen wrench from their toolkit as well as their VC3 from the toolkit. But you're going to need VC3 or blue Loctite. We'll go over when you apply the Loctite when we get to that point. You need your brass hammer. You need, depending on the model, and grips. Now this particular model has some G10 grips on it that take a Torx T10. If you have normal Allen wrench grips, they should be, I think, a 5/64, 3/32, something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. But either way, the box that you buy your pistol in will come with a tool to take the grips off. You'll have it in that box, so go find it, come on back. So you're going to need your 3/32 punch, you'll need a 1/16 punch, again, depending on which grips you have, Torx or Allen wrench to remove the grips. This is the prototype ram tool for those of you that will be unfortunate and have to use a 10 to 12 ton ram, 10 to 12 ton press to get your trigger pin out. What this does is you let them know if you have a 1 inch or a 1.5. I have a 1 inch arbor on my glorious orange Central Hydraulics 12 ton press that I bought probably a decade ago or more at this point. But then you have two 3/16 set screws. You'll need a 3/16 Allen wrench, and we'll get to the part in the section and I'll stitch it right in. We'll talk about how to pop that out, but pretty cool little tool. Attaches to the ram, and then any 1/16 punch. Well, any punch really. So if you have a need for multiple multiple pins that need punched out or things around the house or anything like that, this comes in handy. And I know for a fact, a little birdie told me they're working on some inserts for specific pins that need to be punched out on specific firearms. So, all right, we've gone over all that. Let's go ahead and lock and clear. We are visually and physically empty. So we're going to go ahead and remove the slide. Set it off to the side. You'll need a bench block and a small flathead screwdriver. So now you're going to take your small flathead screwdriver, and what that's for is to remove the mag release. Now, like a normal 1911, you're going to put your small flathead in, push on the mag release, and you'll turn counterclockwise. The mag release will come right on out. Reason being, there's a cam pin in here. Once that cam's over and is turned, it locks in place. This is spring loaded, and that's how the mag release works. Alright, so now we're going to take our T10, move our grip panels because we don't need them. Well, I mean, we need them, but they'll be in the way right now. These are some nice grips. I like these. Now, some of your grips, like this particular one, it's got O-rings set inside to help make sure you keep them all. This one's still inside the grip with the screw. So now what we're going to do is we're going to decock it by holding our thumb on the hammer, pulling the trigger. Now, here comes a part that's going to kind of suck, and you want to keep hands over this. I'm going to do this down here in case it does decide to take off. So now we need to remove the safety. In order to remove the safety from the 938 238 series, you got to have the hammer up. It's the same on the Micro 9, but that'll be a different video because Micro 9 is slightly different in certain install aspects, and so is the Springfield 911. Along with Colt, Pocket Light, and XSP. The XSP's got to take some fitting. And this trigger will fit a lot of different 938 style pistols. But anyhow, before I go off on too much of a tangent, what we're going to do, even if you've got the double, alright, ambidextrous safety, it doesn't matter, it's the same. Keep your thumb over this, start pushing it this way, and you probably heard that, but you'll definitely feel it, and what you're feeling is the safety detent popping up into your thumb. Here's why it's important to keep it over. See that spring? it will send this detent into the atmosphere, never to be seen again. And when it launches, and it launches that little bitty piece right there, good luck. Be very, very cognizant when you're pulling that apart. Keep a thumb over it. Don't let it escape, because you probably never see it again. So now, what we're ready to do is we're going to test and see if we can go ahead and knock out our trigger pin. Now, like I said, some of you will be able to, because it's been shot a lot. Some, believe it or not, some of the newer ones are not as tight. I know that doesn't sound right, but I think they've gotten a lot of complaints about trying to install aftermarket stuff, or just the fact that, you know, you can buy almost every part of the gun internals from SIG, but you have to send it in to get the trigger replaced because most people can't knock out that pin, when it's a very easy thing to do. One of the things I forgot to cover too as well with the trigger that we just pulled out of our bag, you'll notice you get a slip pin. So what that does is that's going to replace the roll pin that's stock in the plastic trigger that comes out, and it's just much easier to put the whole thing together. Okay, we're going to take our 1/16 punch. Now remember, this one is pre-prepped. I've already done this. So this one's going to drive on out, but you're going to give yours the test. Alright, you start whacking on it and it don't want to move. Do not get too crazy. You can give it a couple whacks, but if it doesn't move after a good couple whacks, what will end up happening is, if you're not dead center on there with the punch, it'll start shifting and you'll start smacking your frame. Now, if you're one of the unlucky few, like this particular one was before I shot video and decided to go ahead and have it make it easy on myself, make sure I wasn't about to destroy a gun before I did it, I already popped it out. So right about now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift over. We're going to cut to the footage I've already made for that, and then we'll come on back to the install. Sorry about the interruption there. We left off, we were taking our roll pin out of our stock trigger, getting everything set up, ready to go for the new trigger. Drive that on out. Your trigger turn spring will probably kind of shoot out a little bit, but it's not under an immense amount of tension, so it won't take off on you. But you're going to take that and drop it into your new Shepherd trigger. And come up, making sure that the trigger bar is over the spring. You're going to compress it, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but that's why we're doing this with, kind of works out well the way you do it. You're going to hold it with your index and middle finger like so, and then just push the trigger bar with your thumb. You'll notice on your pin there's a beveled side. You're going to put the beveled side in. Doesn't matter from which side, by the way. Alright, and then once it's in, it's all lined up, we're ready to stick it back in the frame. First thing we'll want to do though, before we do that, is we'll check and make sure the trigger bar moves nicely. Alright, so we're going to come in, actually about jumped ahead myself. Now we're going to put the set screw back in. Now I like to come in from the rear and pull the screw on that way. Just a personal preference, because it's adjusted from the front, but it also keeps the VC3 in place at the back where it's needed in case it comes off instead of at the front. If you're using blue Loctite, now is when you'll do it. Again, this is why I like to do it from the back, because the blue Loctite will pull it through. And back here is important, up here not so much. So we'll pull that in until we got about 2-3 threads showing, and then we're ready to install. So we're going to drop the trigger bar in from the top and turn the trigger to where we get it down like that. Hold the trigger bar in place here. I'm going to turn the trigger and it's going to line everything up nicely. See right through onto our terry cloth microfiber. That's what I'm trying to say. Get everything lined up, push your pin in. Now before we drive it all the way home, what I like to do is make sure that nothing's bound up, lifter is moving and all that, so we're good to go, and drive it on home. Take your 3/32, line it up, a couple firm taps. We're not trying to beat the thing in, we're just tapping it to where it's equidistant, right, so that we know it's not going to walk out during firing. So now we're ready to go ahead and put her back together, and then we'll adjust the over travel. First we're going to take our mag release, stick that bad boy on in there. Alright, next what I like to do is put the safety back on. I find this to be easier with the flat end of one of the punches pushed down all at the same time you're pushing that. That's going to be scary because that thing's under some tension and it may fly, so make sure you keep your hands kind of cupped around it like I just did, because you're pushing down with this hand and guiding with your left so that that thing doesn't pop on out. We're ready to put our grip panels back on. Hand tight. You don't need to Tarzan these things. There's no need for that. Hand tight. So the O-rings for actually helps lock things in there. And if one of your O-rings is stuck in your grip, just take it out, put it on your screw. Alright. And make sure too, I mean, you can do it with the piece in there, but really make sure that it's actually on the screw, so you're not screwing it in there into the mag well, because then you'll lock up your mag. Alright, now we're going to put our slide on, making sure that we cock the hammer and push forward on the lifter. And take your takedown, line everything up. Now we're going to functions check. First thing we're going to do is we're going to place the weapon on safe. Try and pull the trigger. Trigger should not fall. Safety off. Trigger falls. Hold to the rear. Reset. Click. Bang. Alright, so we are ready to adjust the over travel. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn clockwise until the hammer no longer falls. And that's why I like to only do 2 or 3 threads out to begin with, because 1 or 2 turns and we're there already. We're going to back this thing off 1/4 turn at a time, counterclockwise, and it's right there. So reset, pull, reset, pull. So we'll give it 1 more 1/4 turn counterclockwise, and it is done, folks, and you are completely and officially installed. Your Shepherd Tactical Supply short stroke trigger is now in. Feels good. It's solid instead of plastic. You know, you've got aluminum. It's got a nice stop. It's got a nice light pull to the rear without having to mess with the sear of the hammer any of it. Gives you the feel of about a 3, 4, 5 pound trigger, somewhere in there, between 3 and 5 pounds. And stock, these things come like 6, and that's without doing anything else to it. So I think you'll be very pleasantly pleased with it. Has a nice classic look. Man, that really looks good in there. This looks like an old non-1911 now. Those grips, that, I just love it. Looks great. If you guys got any questions, be sure to hit them up at info@shepherdtacticalsupply.com. Be sure to go down in the description and hit up all their social media links. Hit the like and subscribe button below. And this is Brandon from the bench, and we'll see you next time.